The stats. You're born, and the clock is already almost done. Average age at death across known Homo habilis individuals, 12.84 years. That's not a life expectancy dragged down by infant mortality, that's the middle of childhood. Peak mortality window is between 10 and 14. The oldest Habilis we've ever found made it to 25. That was the ceiling. Your body is 32 kilograms, about 70 pounds. You're shorter than a modern 7-year-old, but you're a full-grown adult. Your brain sits at around 650 cubic centimeters, roughly half of yours right now. It's a weird spot, big enough to feel fear, big enough to recognize a pattern, not big enough to build anything that changes your odds. Correct for the fact that infant bones rarely survive 2 million years, and roughly 60% of your species probably died before age 10. Out of every 10 babies born, maybe 1 or 2 saw their 20th birthday. And here's the part that stings. The species that came before you, Australopithecus africanus, actually lived longer. You evolved a bigger brain, and it backfired. More brain means more calories, and you showed up right as the environment started drying out and food started disappearing. The upgrade didn't save you. It made you hungrier in a world with less to eat. This isn't a video about a tough ancestor who roughed it. This is a species where hitting puberty was beating the odds. And puberty was the easy part because you haven't met your neighbors yet. The predator gallery. Every morning you wake up, the world is already hunting you. Start with the cats. Meganterion whitei is about 100 kilograms of ambush predator crouch in tall grass. It has saber canines that never retract, they just sit outside its mouth, permanently exposed like it wants you to see them first. It kills with what paleontologists call a canine shear bite. That means it lunges for your throat and shears through it. Chemical analysis of its bones confirmed it ate hominins. This thing is the ancestor of Smilodon, the famous saber-tooth. You're meeting the original. Then there's the leopard, not some ancient exotic species. A leopard. In 2025, an AI trained on thousands of bite marks matched tooth pits on Homo habilis bones at over 90% probability. Leopards were eating you. They dragged your body into trees. They left the parts they didn't want. We'll come back to that. Homotherium has serrated teeth like steak knives and hunts in packs. It clamps down and holds. Dinophilus was once suspected to be a specialist primate killer. That specific charge got partially dropped, but it was never fully cleared. It's still in your world. Still big. Still a cat. Now the hyenas. Pachyrhocutta brevirostris weighs 110 kilograms. That's the size of a lioness. It outweighs you 3.5 to 1. Its jaws crush bone, not cut. Crush. It steals kills from other predators and cracks skulls open for the brain inside. That's documented. Then there's Chasmoporthetes, which is a hyena built like a cheetah. Cat-like teeth, long legs, it runs you down on open ground in a pack. Now the water. You need water every single day. Every water source is a death trap. Crocodylus anthropophagus is 7 meters long, weighs about 1.5 tons, and its name literally translates to human eater. That's not a nickname, that's its scientific name. Taxonomists looked at the evidence and said, yeah, that's what it does. It lived in the same deposits as you at Olduvai Gorge. It had horns on its skull. There's evidence it tore the limbs off juvenile hominins. And if that one's busy, Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni might be the largest true crocodile species that ever lived, up to 7.5 meters. Broad, crushing snout. You need water to survive. Water is where the monsters live. Every drink is a dice roll, and we're not done. Dinopithecus ingens is a giant baboon. Males hit 77 kilos, more than double your weight, with canines built for killing. Raptors overhead. We know eagles hunted primates your size because one killed the Taung child and left talon marks on the skull. Snakes kill tens of thousands of people in modern Africa every year with hospitals and anti-venoms. You have neither. You're a 70-pound animal in a world with over 30 predators purpose-built to kill you. No fire. No real weapons. You can't outrun anything on that list. But one of those predators left something behind, and it became the most important fossil in human history. The fossil that defined humanity. November 4th, 1960. A young man named Jonathan Leakey is at Olduvai Gorge on his 20th birthday. He finds a child's jawbone and a handful of small hand bones scattered in the dirt. They call the specimen Johnny's child. It gets the catalog name OH7, and it becomes the holotype of Homo habilis meaning this specific individual, this one child, is the specimen that technically defines the entire species. When scientists say Homo habilis, they mean things that look like this kid. Everything starts here. '07 was 10 to 12 years old when it died. That jawbone has 2 small pits on it. For decades, nobody could say for certain what made them. In 2025, an AI trained on bite mark databases matched them. Leopard, over 90% probability. This child was killed and partially eaten by a leopard. It gets worse. A foot found nearby, OH8, possibly from the same individual, has different tooth marks. Crocodile. Likely Crocodylus anthropophagus, the human eater. So the leading idea now is a double predator scenario. A leopard killed this child. A crocodile scavenged what was left. Or the other way around. Either way, 2 different predators left their signatures on the same small body. And this isn't isolated. O35 is a severed leg with both crocodile and leopard damage. O16, nicknamed George, was a teenager with tooth decay so severe he could only chew on one side of his mouth. Imagine that. You're already starving. Your brain is burning calories you can't replace, and half your teeth don't work. Here's the thing that should sit with you. The reason we have Homo habilis fossils at all is because they were eaten. Leopards leave bones behind. Hyenas don't. They crush everything. The founding specimen of humanity, the bone that drew the line between ape and human, exists because a predator didn't finish its meal. The child that defined human was leftovers. And that's not even the biggest thing the 2025 studies took away. Dethroned. For 60 years, Homo habilis has had one job in the story of human evolution. It's right there in the name. Habilis means handy. Handy man. The first tool maker. The species that picked up a rock and changed everything. The bridge between ape and human. The moment we stopped being prey and started being predators, that story just collapsed. Problem 1. The tools probably aren't yours. In 2023, researchers found Oldowan stone tools alongside Paranthropus boisei, a completely different species, at a site called Nyanga, dated to about 3 million years ago. Even older tools at Lomekwi date to 3.3 million years. That's before the genus Homo even exists. Somebody else was making tools long before Habilis showed up. Problem 2, you were still prey. The 2025 AI studies didn't just identify bite marks. They dismantled the narrative. Both OH7 and OH65, 2 of the most important Habilis fossils, carry leopard tooth pits. The conclusion, stated plainly, these very early humans were being eaten by carnivores, not mastering the landscape, being consumed by it. Problem 3, and this one's been simmering for decades, Homo habilis might not even be Homo. In 1999, 2 researchers proposed reclassifying the species as Australopithecus habilis, not human, pre-human. Some scientists still prefer that. One major museum calls it a well-known but poorly defined species. The bones are too variable, the definition is too loose. The only thing holding the name together is tradition. The real shift from prey to predator probably belongs to Homo erectus. Bigger body, bigger brain, controlled fire, actual weapons. Habilis was the rough draft that never got revised. Now, to be honest, the taxonomy here is genuinely unresolved. Serious scientists sit on both sides. Whether Habilis belongs in Homo or Australopithecus is still a live debate, and this video isn't going to settle it. But what the 2025 evidence did settle is simpler and harder to argue with. Whatever you call this species, it was being hunted, killed, and eaten. That part's in the bones. The video started as, this species had it rough. Now it's, this species might not even be what we were told, and the single claim that made it special just fell apart. But why? Why was it this bad? Why couldn't they adapt? The death spiral. Pull back. Look at the bigger picture. Homo habilis didn't just get unlucky, it walked into a trap that was already closing. The East African rift is tearing the continent apart. Tectonic uplift is pushing the land higher, drying it out. Forests shrink, grasslands spread. The food you relied on starts disappearing. Slowly enough that you can't see it happening, fast enough that each generation is a little hungrier than the last. And your brain, your one advantage, is bleeding you dry. A bigger brain demands more calories per hour. You evolved it right as the menu got shorter. Every extra neuron is an extra mouth to feed, and there's nothing to feed it with. So you scavenge more, you take bigger risks, you venture further from cover to steal scraps off a carcass, and that puts you in the open, and that's where the predators are, and they're hungrier too. The same drought that's starving you is starving them, and you're the easiest thing to catch. You're also not alone. Homo erectus is already here. Bigger, smarter, better armed. Paranthropus boisei is grinding through the same turf with jaws built for hard food you can't process. Homo rudolfensis is competing for whatever's left. The resources are shrinking and the competition is growing. Worse, climate pushes you into more risk. More risk gets more of you killed. More death means less time to develop better strategies, and the loop repeats. For 750,000 years. It wasn't bad luck, it wasn't just scary predators. The environment, the biology, and the competition formed a cage with no door. The species named Handyman probably didn't make the tools. The specimen that defined human was a leopard's leftovers. And the bigger brain that was supposed to save them, it starved them faster. Being born as Homo habilis wasn't just the worst draw in human history. 60 years later, science isn't even sure it counts as human history at all.